increased reach and visibility through like your search and through the comments. How am I going to get seen by more people from the comments besides if you just saw a blue check mark and so your eye went to me? I'm not sure about that.
I think it's going to be a little bit like there's no specialty to it if we all have one.
But if they were to say, hey, because you're paying every single month, we're going to give you first access to beta features that nobody else gets. If there were certain features like that, then maybe I would be a little bit more open to paying a monthly subscription for something like that.
Let's get into the first one. This is an interesting one.
This has been a big topic. The opportunity for us to now pay in order to be verified here on Instagram and Facebook, copying Twitter, like always. This option is now rolling out this week to, I think, New Zealand and Australia. Will then be rolling out to other countries as the weeks move on. I'm interested to see how you guys feel about this and this new update and the opportunities that it could bring or any issues that it might bring for us.
I mean, I think that this is cool, but I think that it takes away almost like the point of the check. Like, I feel like that was something that was like special to have. And like, I don't know, I feel like it kind of almost takes, I'm trying to think of the word, but like the specialty out of having it kind of, if you can just like pay to have it. But I think that it is cool for somebody who maybe really does need that check that isn't getting it because they're not like at 1 million followers, somebody that really needs to like stand out who does have a reason for it, you know. But I think it's going to be a little bit like there's no specialty to it if we all have one, kind of.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still kind of processing this one, but you know, my initial gut reaction was just why? Like, I didn't really understand the point behind it unless there is benefit for me as a subscriber, because that's kind of how I'm looking at it, is like I'm paying you a membership fee essentially every single month. So what does that include? Am I literally paying every single month just for that blue check mark? So I looked into it a little bit more, and I know that they're talking about authenticity as well as a little bit more security, another layer of security to make sure that there aren't all these other accounts that are popping up trying to claim that they are me. So I probably have a different perspective because I don't have a massive following. I'm not someone who has 1 million, 2 million followers who have a lot of people that are trying to impersonate me. If that were the case, maybe I would feel a little bit different about it. And I'd be saying, thank you, finally, a way for me to combat all of these different people who are trying to say that they are me. But the cynical side of me is looking at Meta and them laying off 13% of their workforce in November and going, is this just an easy way to capitalize off of people who want that verification and that blue check mark? But if they were to say, hey, because you're paying every single month, we're going to give you first access to beta features that nobody else gets. Like, if there were certain features like that, then maybe I would be a little bit more open to paying a monthly subscription for something like that.
Yeah, like you're paying to get the hookup in a way, right?
Exactly. Like, what's the benefit for me as a subscriber?
Yes, and actually in Meta's announcement, when they were listing off some of the benefits that could come from this, they did say that you could possibly, they didn't really say how or what, they just said increased reach and visibility. So what they said in their description was through like your search and through the comments. And the comments part kind of threw me off. Like, how am I going to get seen by more people from the comments besides if you just saw a blue check mark and so your eye went to me? I'm not sure about that. But so that could be like one thing they're trying to push.
That does happen sometimes.
Yeah,
it happens to my eye.
Yes, it does. But then it goes back to what you were saying, Rach. Like, now it's just not as special.
Everyone's gonna have a blue check. Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
You have a blue check, and so does, you know, this person over here and this person, like we all do. So what's the difference?
The novelty.
Yes, the novelty.
That was the word I was trying to think of before.
Agreed.
I do think it is cool for, like, I feel like for someone wrote a comment that was like, but if you have your community, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, they don't care if you have a check mark or not. I kind of agree with that for, like, especially, like, I think all of our accounts, they're more, like, service-based, like, we're people accounts, where I feel like, but I will say for Go-Getter, for our product-based business, I think it kind of is nice, but then again, I kind of feel like we're buying something that like we didn't actually get, if that makes sense. But I think it would be nice. We have had a few people like make different accounts that like are trying to be Go-Getter Girl or like making it seem like they sell Go-Getter Girl products, and like I think for something like that, it might help like a user see, okay, this is like the real account to purchase from, like you were saying. But I mean, again, I think it just takes the novelty away.
The big issue with that though is right now this is only going out to creators and personal brands. So like if you are a business account and if you are a business with a logo, like you're not a person, they're not doing it.
In regards to that, I saw a question, are they going to start charging those who already have it? And that's a really great question. They are not going to charge those that already have it. But understand that because you already have the blue verification, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have all of those other features that we're talking about, like impersonation, security, and customer support. So they didn't justify if you're going to actually have that as well and not pay. But it's an interesting concept, this pay to play for verification. As you guys are alluding to, everybody's going to have a blue check mark. What happens next? Is there going to be a red check mark? Is there going to be a green one?
Right.
Are they going to have the rainbow one that, you got to really start paying big bucks for? I think they're going down a really interesting road that might not work out best for them. And as you kind of stated, Meg, they got this from another platform. It's the Birdie platform. They got this from. Thank you, Uncle Elon, for giving Mark this idea. But I don't know if it's going to work as they're hoping that it's going to work on Twitter, because it seems to be backlashing on Twitter.
Okay, with all of the negative press that went on with the Twitter verification, I'm very confused why they even thought this was going to be a good idea. I don't know. We'll see. Don't want to say anything too fast, but I mean, it didn't go over well on Twitter.
Are there any requirements? Like, do you need a certain amount of followers or something to get approved?
From my understanding, it's not necessarily a follower count, but you have to be 18 years or older. You have to show a picture of your government ID and you, and it goes through a process, but I don't think there's a follower count.
If you had to decide, like right now, from what we just discussed, are you thinking like you'll pay, and it's $12, I believe, if you do it on the web, $15 if you do it via iOS or Android. Would you consider paying, or
I
just
feel like
nah?
I don't want to say like no, but I feel like the popular thing to say right now would be like, no, I would never do that. But I don't want to say that because honestly, like I do see the benefit for brands that are actually monetizing on Instagram. Like I do think it could. I'm not saying you should like all go get check marks and it's that important, but I can't say that like I'm 100% like I would never consider it. I think that like I also think it's interesting, like if you started your Instagram, I don't know when you guys both started, but I know Meg, like you started your Instagram so long ago, I started mine so long ago, and I think like that is like I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. I feel like back then that would have been something that is like something you worked for and you got it, and I think now that like just got taken away by buying it. But I do think there could be some benefits, so I don't want to say I'm immediately out, but I'm not like immediately in.
Got you.
I wouldn't recommend it to every client if that's the question, but I think for me, I would probably debate for one of my brands. Not both.
I would say with the, in the current iteration, I would say it's a no for me, dog. But, I'm same as Rachel, that if they were to come out with some new features that made it seem a little bit more appealing to me, then maybe, yeah. But I like the current setup of being verified because you don't have to have a ton of followers in order to get verified. At least my understanding. It's almost more about press. Has there been press that's been written about you? Karen X. Chang is someone who knew that and recognized that very early on. So she had a lot of press written about her. And of course, her Instagram account grew just drastically because she's incredibly creative and had amazing partnerships with people like Adobe. And now she's into the AI stuff. And like, you got to go check her out. Like, yes, you might be able to take that easy route of like, you got the blue check mark, but ultimately, if it's not serving your business or your long-term goals, then you have to find other ways in order to reach those goals. Because just having the blue check mark, unless they're willing to give us more, like they're talking about possible visibility and exposure, that would be great. If that isn't going to be a number one thing that they're going to give us, you're still going to have to find ways to get that exposure. And so, don't look at that as like a get rich quick kind of deal, because it's not going to happen that way.
By a simple thumbs up in the comments or a thumbs down. I want to know from you guys, are you guys thinking that you would consider paying for Instagram's verification? And that includes the check mark as well as impersonation security, and some of the other features that they were listing as well. Like you can actually reach out and contact somebody from Facebook, which we've heard it's been very hard to do, but supposedly it'll be easier. I want to know from a show of hands in the comments, but would you actually consider paying for Instagram verification? Thumbs up if you would. Thumbs down if you're not. Well, I hope you guys took some value from what we just discussed. The brand new feature of verification program where you can actually buy your verification on Instagram. It is now accessible, but is it worth all the hype? And like I always say, take some of these points that we are bringing up with you guys and step your gram up.